There is a saying, you can't outrun a bad diet. I don't have a bad diet, but I do have a sweet tooth. I like to have something sweet after every lunch and dinner, and the times in between lunch and dinner. I've always wondered if I'm hampering my sporting performance by eating so much junk food. So in this video, I'm going to test out what happens if I try to give up sweet things like cakes, biscuits and chocolates for a month. I didn't change anything else. I did the same amount of exercise as I normally do, and I ate the same lunches and dinners. I'm recording this having completed the challenge. The clips are all from the period I was doing it. I say at the start I'm giving up sugar. That didn't happen. It would be too hard. I just gave up desserts and sweet snacks. At the start of the challenge, I weighed myself. I was 13 stone, or 83 kilograms. I didn't weigh myself again until the end of the challenge. Let's see how I got on. I'll drop in occasionally and add some context or extra info.
7 o'clock in the morning on November the 2nd, 2023, and that's me survived 24 hours without sugar. Day one wasn't too bad, except for the fact there was a leaving day at work and someone came around with free cake, so it was very hard to say no. It looked very good cake as well. The only thing I've noticed, which is slightly different, is that I actually slept better last night. Normally I go to bed at 10:30 and I wake up at 1:30 with a loo. But last night I actually slept till 3:30. So I don't know if that's due to lack of sugar or because I've got a young son. It could just be that he slept better last night and didn't get interrupted. Let's see how it goes today.
Day 2 of no sugar, and I've survived my first trip to the supermarket and avoided buying any cookies, donuts, chocolatey things, anything that's bad for me, basically. And success, I bought some bananas. A recurring theme in this video is the difficulty of finding healthy snacks. It was fine in large supermarkets, but small supermarkets just have lots of junk food, and if they did have healthy food, then it tended to be very expensive. If anyone knows good, cheap, healthy snacks, then please leave a comment. I'd love to hear suggestions that aren't fruit.
Day 3, still slept good, feeling pretty good as well. Quite hard to take as a Saturday. Normally I would have cookies on a Saturday. I'm just off down in the shop, so I'll have to resist buying some. Today is Monday, November the 6th, and yesterday I was a half marathon. It was actually quite hard to do because afterwards my brother said he was off home to have a cake to eat, and I was off home to have some grapes to eat. I think that's one of the problems with giving up sugar, is that no matter how many grapes or bananas or apples you eat, I still have a sense of hunger afterwards. So I really need to find something which is healthy but also fills me up. Today is November the 7th, which means I've managed to survive a week without eating anything bad for me. So I do have a problem today, and I was supposed to be playing badminton at lunchtime. I wanted to pick up a sandwich first so I would have something to eat afterwards, but the sandwich shop was shut. So that means I really shouldn't play badminton, because if I do, there's nowhere near my work where I can get something healthy to eat. So I have to decide, eat healthily. The main thing I've noticed after a week is that I feel hungry all the time. I think it's probably because I'm not filling myself up full of junk, and as many grapes and bananas and apples as I can eat don't really fill you up that much. Well, it does make you feel a bit healthier. I do feel but slightly lighter. It'll be interesting to see this week, at the weekend. I've got an ultra marathon. I wonder how I'll get on. I think overall though it's been easier than I thought it was going to be. I think that's probably because I know it's going to end at the end of the month. So therefore I can survive because it's not that far away. We'll have to see how week 2 goes.
I thought I'd be desperate for unhealthy food after just a few days, but I actually didn't miss it. I think I was overconfident at this point, as it did get harder and harder as the weeks went on. I think it helped that I had a couple of races this month, and I was starting to feel healthier and fitter for not eating junk food. Having a goal is a really good incentive, but having a goal can also be problematic, as what do you do once the goal has been achieved?
Today is November the 8th, And it's going to be a tricky day today to avoid having any sugar because I've got a man coming around who's going to be working in the kitchen all day, which means I have no access to it. But I've also got friends visiting tonight to play some board games, and they expect some good food and lots of sugary treats, which means I'll need to order a takeaway, which is pretty unhealthy, and it'll be really hard to resist the donuts and muffins and everything else that they bring around. It's November the 9th today, and I had my first fail of the challenge. It was as I thought last night. There was so many sweet things available, and I got past a bit of millionaire shortbread, and it seemed it would take too long to explain what my challenge was to all my friends, so I had a bit of millionaire shortbread. And I have to admit, it was delicious. But I think the point of this challenge is really to eat more healthily, but not to completely abstain from everything. You've got to enjoy life after all. November the 11th, and back to having a good day. I managed to survive the whole day without sugar, even though someone did bring what do you call it? Colin the Caterpillar, the chocolate cake from Marks and Spencer's into work. I managed to resist it. Today is November the 13th, and it's 2 days since I did my ultramarathon, and I have to be honest, since then I've been absolutely gagging for a chocolate biscuit. I think it must be the healing up process, as my legs are really sore. I was using up lots of energy and making me hungry all the time. And it doesn't matter how many apples or bananas I eat, I just can't stop craving something sweet to eat. I have a video about my ultramarathon race. In it, I say that I had stomach cramp problems. Normally, I don't have any stomach issues in a race. I wonder if this was due to the change in my diet. I'm not qualified to say one way or the other, but it was one of the downsides of the challenge. The positive is that I felt great before the race, and after the race, I was able to recover well and be back running more quickly than I normally would. Today is November the 14th. It's cold, wet, miserable. It's the sort of day where you really want food that's comforting and unhealthy. I don't think anyone ever really wakes up in winter and goes, what I'd really love now is a salad that'll warm me up. Oh well, I'll just have to make do with my apples. Today is November the 15th, and I think that means I'm halfway through my challenge. I forgot to record yesterday, I should mention that. But nothing exciting happened. I think halfway through, feeling pretty good. I think the second half of the challenge is going to be trickier because my mum is now down in Glasgow for the rest of the month, and she loves nothing more than making me cakes and buying lots of sweet things. It'll be really hard to say no. This didn't turn out to be an issue, as first my wife, then my son, then myself came down with a heavy cold and a stomach bug. I had to avoid my mum so that we didn't pass the bug on. Today is November the 23rd, which means there's 1 week left of my challenge. It's good, because that means I'm trying to think about what I might want to eat at the 1st of December. I think I'll probably definitely be a donut, happy donuts. I forgot to mention, I'm off to a conference today. There's going to be lots of free food and free alcohol. One of the things that we're doing in November, as well as not having desserts, is not having anything alcoholic to drink. But that's not really too much of a challenge, because I only really drink maybe 1 pint, 2 pints a week at most. So I'll try not to have any today. I used to drink a lot more, but then I read that a pint of beer is equivalent to a Mars bar. Do I want to drink a Mars bar? No. And since thinking about that, I've drunk a lot more. No, a lot less. Today is November the 26th, and I went to my conference a couple of days ago. Had some really nice food, and then by the end of the day I was feeling really ill. My stomach bug had not gone away, and the good food did not agree with me in the slightest, which meant that I ended up feeling I've been in bed most of Friday trying to recover, and then yesterday still trying to get over a little bit. Couldn't really eat anything properly. Thankfully feel a bit better today and slightly more of an appetite, which doesn't mean that I haven't had any particular desire for anything sweet, but also probably the unfair reflection of how much food I've had, because that's a sort of starvation diet for 3 days, which I wasn't intending. But hopefully the last few days of this challenge will go smoothly. Today is November the 27th, and you may be wondering why I'm walking through a graveyard. It's because for 8 years I've lived in my house and I've walked to the co-op to go and get myself some cookies every day, and I take the same route up and down the road to go and get them. It takes about 10 minutes there, 10 minutes back. And it was this month, my wife pointed out there's actually another way to get to the co-op, and this blew my mind because I've never thought about it. And she said you can actually cut through the graveyard and it takes you straight there. So today I finally tried it and it has blown my mind. Today is November the 29th, St Andrew's Day, and it's the end of my challenge. I know that's one day short. Is that failure? You tell me. I'm going to stop one day short because I want to actually have some chocolate today and something nice to eat. And I'm in town and I can go and get some nice donuts at lunchtime. But if I was stopped tomorrow on the 30th, then I wouldn't be able to get in.
If you look closely, you'll notice that not only do I have a donut, I've also got a can of Pepsi and a packet of Pringles. Was the donut good? It was amazing, so sweet. So maybe that's lesson number 1 of this video. Sweet things will taste even better if you've had a break first. Although later that day I had an Empire biscuit and it was too sweet. I really struggled to eat it as my taste buds couldn't handle all that sugar. So what did I learn? First of all, I learnt, and this is pretty obvious, eating less sweets mean I will lose weight. I lost about 1/4 stone. I thought it might actually be more than that, as a few people have commented that I'd looked thinner, but personally I didn't think I'd changed that much. Secondly, I learnt, and this again is pretty obvious, not eating sweets made me feel better. I slept better, I recovered from races better, and my training was better. But lastly, I learnt not eating sweets makes food pretty boring. I missed having a wee treat. Nothing I used instead was as good, which is probably what drug or alcohol addicts say when they stop using. I won't win any Nobel Prizes for science by concluding it's okay to have some sweets, but don't do it to excess. I'll just give myself a treat every now and then. If you fancy giving this a try, then I highly recommend it. I think 30 days is the perfect length of time to commit to a task and see if it makes a difference to your life.